Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Devil's Due. Court is now in session. I am your host, Carl Duty, and with me, as always, is the man who once had his own G.I. Joe action figure, codenamed Metalhead. But in order to get this action figure, you had to buy the vehicle it was packaged with, which is the Skyboat. Mr. Drew Celestino.
It's so accurate to the show, really. The Skyboat was on last week's episode.
It was Tiger Force Skyboat, too.
Wow. Well, actually, if I was Metalhead, though, no, it would have to be Python Patrol.
Was there actually a Metalhead?
Yes,
I didn't know. I just from your...
He was part of, unfortunately, of the DiC era, the DIC, after they took it over from Sunbow.
Okay.
And it was an inferior company.
Product.
And it got the show got kind of campy and dumb. Metalhead, though, was a kind of a neat character where he had a rocket launcher on his back and on his thighs. He had side launchers. And he had a targeting computer built into his face, so he had goggles, and he had to target stuff, and then to fire his missiles, he would go bang. Every time he said bang, a missile would fire. He was kind of a comic relief character on the show.
I just kind of said Metalhead because you have a metal band, so I needed something that sounded G.I. Joe codenamey, and look at that, I hit spot on.
It's relevant too because. The Long Cold Dark is up for Best Heavy Metal Band at the Metal Blog.
Yes, I saw you posted the link. Yeah, is this the same one we discussed on in previous episode?
It is. We're up. Well, so we are up right now for Best Release of 2016 for Captive Audience, and now we're also up for Best Heavy Metal Band.
That's awesome.
So
man.
I would encourage everyone to please vote for us. I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw that link up on right after the show. Congratulations on that.
We'll see how it works out.
You guys' band had a pretty good year. Speaking of pretty good, how was pretty good frames of time? How was your week, sir?
No.
Maybe
I see
built up a little too much.
I feel for a few weeks now, maybe longer. I've had to quantify this portion of the show every week, so I'm just going to come out and say, my week is generally dejecting until I get home, and then I try and salvage it for as best I can. So the week was okay.
All right. But
no. Well, let's put the bad things where they should go. So we're off the clock here. Long Cold Dark had a show on Sunday evening. Played well, good bands, sparsely attended. So. Sunday evening is tough, but it was a good time. We did really well. People like us. That's a good feeling. And that aside, man, not a ton going on. Pretty chillax, really.
Okay.
I'm a suburban 30-something dude. I don't do a lot. It's not true, but
I'll fly. I'm pilot.
Yeah. I'm brewing tomorrow. Oh, well, hang on.
Oh, here we go.
Hang on. See,
here we go.
You got to walk me into the week. That's all. I just got to.
We do the same thing every episode,
I know,
sir. You know it's coming.
I don't prep. I'm like Batman. I'm not like Batman. I don't have prep time. I just kind of react. So
there's kind of more Deadpoolish. You're just like
spur of the moment.
There we go.
So I went to Premiere Gourmet on was it Wednesday, Thursday? I think it was Wednesday. And because I know, because I'm plugged into these kinds of things.
Wednesday would have been New Comic Day, so I'm assuming you went after you picked up your books.
Before, on the way, yes, en route to the shop. So because I am plugged into such matters, I know for a fact dates and times when certain things become available. And I know for a fact that the Stone Chocoveza had been released and was due to be in Buffalo by the 6th.
So beers have street dates?
Oh yeah. You can look this
not
stuff up.
Not completely unlike video games.
Kind of like that.
Alrighty.
So I went to Premier Gourmet because they are generally speaking the best selection in town. And I looked at the end cap where the Stone beer, the Stone for the uninitiated is my favorite brewery, out of San Diego, California. I have been there. It is my mecca. So I asked, and I'm like, you guys got any Chocoveza? And the gentleman at Premiere proceeded to kind of cop a toot with me and was like, no, we're sold out. it's going to be one of those beers. It's going to be hard to get. I don't know when we're getting more. And I was like, oh.
Did he cop a tune that like he just seemed to be a jerk in general, or that he's a gentleman who had been asked that question for the 60th time?
Probably a bit of both.
Okay.
But you know what? There's no need for that.
Having a background in customer service, I can somewhat sympathize with.
I worked at
retail. You gotta put the frustration aside and give the customer the best service possible. But sometimes, you just got those days.
I worked in a pit of hell gas station for 5 years, my friend. I have dealt with the public.
I worked at Blockbuster.
I will trade you Blockbuster for a gas station.
Don't be so eager to do that,
dude. Look, aside, real quick, just a quick aside.
Yeah.
Quick aside here on the aside.
A sub-addendum to the addendum.
The people that go into gas stations are the dregs of society. And if you have any purpose in a gas station outside of an absolute last-minute need for a beverage or maybe gum or something like that.
I don't know, man. Some of those mobile stations are really nice. Like, they got the craft beers in them and everything.
That's a Sunoco, and that was before my time. I'm just saying, gas stations are nowhere anyone with any sense wants to be. I go to the gas station, I pay at the pump with my card, and I'm out of there. That's it. I don't want to go outside because I know what's in there.
All
Lottery tickets and degenerate drinkers. Same people every day getting beer, 7 a.m. I know what's going on here.
I like that you say degenerate drinkers.
And smokers.
As you're holding a beer in your hand.
I said degenerate drinkers. And smokers.
Okay, so
anyway.
Yeah. The beer came out, you asked the guy.
The gentleman was snotty with me, so I proceeded to leave.
Snooty.
Snotty.
Snotty. What's that from?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, yeah.
So I drive up the road to Consumers Beverages.
Yeah.
And sure as hell, man, 5 cases on the floor, ready to be sold, on display. I asked the gentleman working there, is there a limit on these? Because last year there was a limit on them in stores. And he said, no. And I'm like, really? He's like, no. Do you want them cold? I got them in the fridge too. I'm like, oh my God. I said, no, this is fine. And I had a 6-pack in my hand, and I took a step back. I looked at it. I put it down.
That's not enough.
I bought a case.
Of course, yeah.
It was $75.
How many bottles come in a case?
24.
Okay. How many bottles are left?
22.
Okay.
Counting the one in my hand right now. The poured one, mind you. Always pour your beer in glass, gentlemen. Sorry, Alan. Spoilers, Alan's here.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So yeah, the Choco Vase is out, and it is the highlight of the next few months because it is outstanding. So tomorrow, tying this all in, I'm brewing again. So maybe if we got a little brew episode, a kitchen brew or something, I can talk you through it. Right. Tomorrow I'm brewing the Darkness Imprisoning Me chocolate, oatmeal, coffee, imperial stout once again because it was awesome as hell last time, and I still have some downstairs. I'm going to brew another batch, but this time I am going to do a addition in secondary fermentation. I think we've been over this before, but we can talk about it again. An addition in secondary fermentation of peppers, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla beans, and cold pressed coffee.
The ghost pepper of Quetzal Sahara?
No, nothing that intense. Just a little bit. As you taste it in this beer, it's subtle. Just
he carved
a little
it from
bit.
a bigger spoon.
You're not going to need to drink wax before you have this.
Okay.
So I'm shooting to try and make my own little Choco Vase of
Alrighty.
So that's what's going on. Sorry, that was a long-winded
it's all right.
turn there. Oh, and the new Meshuggah record came out today, and it's freaking amazing. They are amazing. Expect me to be like this times 10 when the Metallica record's released. But for now, the new Meshuggah is out, and it's amazing.
Awesome.
Whew. How about you?
Oh, Drew, I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Okay.
It's October.
It is October.
October is my favorite month of the year. October is the best month of the year. Let me tell you why October is the best month of the year. As we discussed on our previous episode, October 1st, the wedding anniversary. Your wedding anniversary as well. So that's a great day to remember.
So that's a Devil's Due day in history right there.
Yes.
Put it on our wiki, fans.
So, okay, October 1st is his wedding anniversary. October, football is in full swing. The hockey is going to start soon.
Yes.
Baseball playoffs, which is like the only baseball kind of worth watching in my opinion.
That's fair.
The weather gets civilized. Like it's not stepping out of the house and having to flip off the sun because it's just pouring down 90 degrees on you.
I'm a summertime guy, but okay.
So yeah,
I feel you.
Nice cool nights.
Okay.
And of course, like Halloween coming up. I got a son this year, so I'm living vicariously through my son with Halloween. His costume design and construction is currently underway.
You will build him the costume that you never got.
Yeah, many costumes that I never got.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Mom never made me a Spider-Man costume. Granted.
Technology was different then, man.
Yep, granted. She did it to protect me because I was a fat little kid.
You could have been Peter Porker.
And she's like,
Spider-Ham.
she always said to me, honey, I can't send you to school in that thing. So yeah, she was protecting me. So yeah, October's here. We had a nice day for our anniversary. We just kind of hung out like partial day with the kid, and then my mom took the kid, and we just kind of went out and we had dinner that was disappointing. Unfortunately,
mine was good. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Yeah, as soon as we went, I had heard there's a new buffet in the Burlington Plaza called Amherst Buffet, and I really enjoy Chinese food. I always want like a good Chinese buffet, which is, let's be honest, it's an oxymoron. It's never going to happen. But someone, like I saw a friend of mine on Facebook, he had been there. He said, wow, it was really good. I can't wait to go back. I'm like, all right, we'll give this a shot. Yeah, like
no dice.
No.
All right,
still not good. But we just kind of hung out and whatnot. I got the complete set of the Flash Gordon Funko Pops.
As you sent to me, yes, I saw the picture.
I got 4 for the price of 1 because we had a gift card and they were having a sale going on.
That's a steal. You have to do that.
And it was great because the way I got them at FYE.
It still exists.
Yeah, and if you want a Funko Pop, they're kind of the place to go to.
Okay.
FYE first, Hot Topic second, but the way they had set up is like there's not a ton of organization to it. So I looked on the shelf and there was Voltan, the wing guy, and I was like, oh man, I go grab Voltan. I'm looking around, I'm not seeing any of the other figures. I go grab Voltan, and right behind him, General Colitis. I'm like, oh. So I grabbed General Colitis. Right behind him, Ming the Merciless.
Yeah.
Grab him. Behind him, Flash. I was like,
it's fate.
I'm so happy.
It's in the stars. It's destined.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah. But yeah, I was very happy this week. I think like the only other thing of note, which I don't know if this is a good thing or a sad thing, is I went on a nice little win streak last night in Street Fighter V with Ryu, which is harder to do because of all the characters. Everybody knows how to fight Ryu.
All right.
You know what Ryu's tools are. You know what he's going to do.
I've seen a Hadouken in my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
So, all right. That was my week. Dear listeners.
Yeah,
if you would like to tell us anything.
Tell us about your week.
Tell us about your week. Tell us about.
We'll read it on the air.
Tell Drew about beers.
Yeah.
That you
please.
like.
American crafts, please.
Give us suggestions for the show. Share our show with others. If you would like to do any of these things, you can find us at the following locations out there in the internets.
There is a hub. Don't forget the hub.
There is a hub. On Twitter, you can follow us at Devils Due Pod. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Devils Due. You can email us at thedevilsduepod.com or thedevilsduepod@gmail.com. Or just at Gmail. I don't know why I want to throw .com and everywhere else.
Gmail.com is correct.
Okay. And last but not least, you can find all these things at our awesome website that Drew put together, thedevilsduepodcast.com.
I'll try and spruce it up a little more, maybe a player for people that want to hit like direct on there. But for now, yeah.
It's a work in progress.
It's a hub. Yeah.
It's a rich tapestry.
As William Murderface's tattoo says, this mess is a place.
There you go. And also, if you want to follow, because Drew, I know that you're not a big Twitter user. But if you want to follow me personally on Twitter, you can do so at The Real Big Duty.
There you go. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. I'm at The Long Cold Dark.
Okay.
Exactly how
is
it
that
sounds.
you or is that the band?
That's me. But I post a lot of band stuff. I post a lot of beer stuff. I post a lot of video game stuff. I post a lot of dogs. Slice of life.
So
there you go. Follow me.
For the first time in a long time, we have no viewer questions this week.
Oh,
I guess Jay took a week off because it was his birthday. Happy birthday, Jay.
Well, yeah, but he didn't get us anything.
That's fair. That's fair.
I was in a good mood. This
this just ends all. May your orca sail smoothly always.
Yeah, until it sinks. Thanks for the question.
Positivity and negativity here on Devil's Due, but to balance us out, we have a returning guest this week. You loved him last week when we watched the Trial of the Incredible Hulk. He's back this week. Welcome again to Devil's Due, Mr. Alan Waiters. Alan, how you doing, buddy?
Sweet Christmas. I'm doing very well, guys.
Ah, there we go. A little bit of Luke Cage.
We're not going to get too deep here, but Luke Cage premiered.
Luke Cage, we got one news item, then we're going to do some reviews, and then we're going to go on to like a little more serious conversation, and then next week we're going to start getting uncaged.
Okay, all right.
We're going to start breaking down Luke Cage next week, and Alan's going to make comebacks for a couple of those episodes, and we're going to have some other people on for some of them. If you like that we have guests on, let us know. If you want to stay just two of us. We have fun when the guests are here. Just the two of us.
Yeah.
Come on, Alan, bring in the bass.
We can make it if you try.
I commented, Drew, that there's like infinitely more singing on this podcast than I ever anticipated there would be.
That's how it
And
goes,
ironically enough, it doesn't come from the one of us who is actually a lead singer in a band.
Well, I'm self-loathing, so I tend not to put myself out there unless I have to. So,
So, okay, we've got one quick news item to go over.
Go on.
And the do I care meter on this. I'm not going to lie. It's slightly below par.
Okay, so we're bringing it up. Why?
Because it's news. It's legitimate news that should be discussed. The first poster,
poster news.
Advertisement of the next Wolverine movie.
Oh, that's newsworthy, I guess.
And final appearance of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine debuted. The poster itself looks very cool. It's a well done poster. It's baby child's hand holding Wolverine's hand with his claws out, and the movie is now titled Logan.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah,
I got some thoughts.
The X-Men movies now, Alan, I know you're a big X-Men fan, but I'm just like, the movies are. I'm not sure if I care anymore.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. They've just gone so meh. Especially after watching, Apocalypse. I'm like, eh.
And even Days of Future Past.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that film, but there were some letdowns.
I think the thing that surprises me about Days of Future Past is it was like supposed to kind of set things right, but I still kind of had that kind of feeling like, well,
it was still a little bit of a hot mess unto itself.
Now what happens?
Yeah.
Now, since we're going to bring that up, how do we feel about First Class?
I liked First Class. I thought it was a good step in the right direction.
Okay.
I did too, but what I was a little bit disappointed when it first came out because I was expecting to have the original 5 X-Men because it's titled First Class.
I hear you.
So I'm expecting, Angel, Beast, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, and original Professor X.
Right. Right.
But having guys like Banshee, Pixie, and all those other guys, Havoc, which doesn't make any sense.
Well, technically you did get Angel, but you got the Grant Morrison version and not Bobby Drake. I'm sorry, not Warren Worthington. Yeah,
Warren Worthington the third.
Sorry, he was.
Title.
I bet he was a real jerk. Anyway.
But yeah, and like I said, I saw the the Logan poster too. If you didn't see it, it's pretty much Wolverine's hand and another smaller hand he's holding.
Yeah.
Can I point out an oddity about that poster? If you look at it again, that child has an abnormally large, long fingers. If you look at how it's wrapped around Logan's hand,
okay. I'll have to check that out.
file that under Photoshop disasters. 'Cause once you see what I'm talking about, you can't unsee it, and it's just going to be bizarre. So I have some thoughts on this movie.
Yeah.
So I have to say, the first Wolverine Origins movie is a steaming pile of hot garbage.
Like, they don't even
No, we shall not bring that up. Half of the Wolverine, was that what it was called?
It was called The Wolverine.
Half of that movie was pretty good.
I would say 3/4.
Okay, that's
Three-quarters,
fair. Yeah,
that's fair.
Up until the hokey schlocky sci-fi ending.
It didn't stick the landing.
No, when it I thought this is a pretty somber and straight take. I like this, and then they had to go and sci-fi dumb it up at the end with the big silver samurai robot and crap, and it got stupid.
Like when the ninjas are showing up on the rooftop, I'm like,
yeah, right.
Stuff's about to go down, and then that scene lasted. Like
so okay,
minutes.
so that movie had potential, and then crapped the bed at the end. So the new one, okay. I have with anything non-Marvel, so Fox, Sony.
Yeah,
Sony's in the good graces now. But
if you don't, just to give the listener some background, 'cause where you're about to go might be confusing if they don't know. There's Marvel Studios, which does Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers, Marvel Studios Productions, Doctor Strange. And then there are the properties that Marvel optioned out that we discussed like early on in our run. Two other companies, the three biggest ones that they have not gotten back being X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man. Even though they've kind of made nice with Sony about Spider-Man.
Spidey's back in the fold, thank God. But
X-Men is still like a license to print money, so they're most likely
never coming home.
To get it back.
Nope. Fantastic Four, nobody really knows.
If Fox is listening, for the love of God, sell it back to Marvel.
Fantastic Four or X-Men?
Fantastic Four.
I agree. We've been Carl and I have discussed this many a time.
Just
I know.
Please sell it back.
I know, because they would. Anyway, they would do something.
I just want to see a proper Reed Richards.
I feel you.
And a proper Doctor Doom. That's all I ask.
Mostly Doom. But okay, so back to the Wolverine real quick. So he's under the Fox umbrella. So I have little faith that it's going to be any good. But I can't help getting angry. I'm sorry. Get angry. At people that were all amped up and like psyched up and full of hype when they're gonna do Old Man Logan. It's gonna be sweet. And I felt like here's my thoughts on these people. And you might be one of these people, and I'm gonna set you straight right now. So not you guys. Someone out there listening might be one of these people.
Be nice to the listeners.
I'll be nice, but I'm setting you straight here. Okay.
All right.
Either A, you heard of Old Man Logan from your comic book reading friend, but never actually read it, but you want to think you're cool because you heard of it, so you're hyping yourself up because all you do is watch the movies and you want to pull your fake geek card out. I know that's a really lame term. I hate using it, but I'm just riffing.
I know what you're saying.
I'm just riffing here. You want to flex in front of your boys and say, "Oh, doing Old Man Logan," but you have no idea what you're talking about. So either you're that guy, or you are a fan. And I commend you. You've read the book and you love it, and you are under the illusion that Marvel and Fox can play nice. Because if you are a sensible person, you know for a fact that Marvel and Fox do not play nice, and there is no chance in hell you can adapt Old Man Logan without the Hulks, without Hawkeye, without so many characters
Red
that Fox
Skull.
does not have the rights to.
Yeah.
So let's tone the hype down a minute.
Yeah.
They're not doing Old Man Logan. In premise, kind of, in that Logan's an old man. Great. That's not Old Man Logan, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. That's my take.
No, I get it because
I'm so happy they didn't title it that, because now they can kind of like...
I feel what you're feeling, maybe not as hostilely as you feel it, but...
It's just one of those things where people are getting hype about something that they haven't even thought about.
I get it, because when you look at like the Old Man Logan story in the comics is one of, you probably put it in the top 5 Wolverine stories of all time. It is
it's great.
It is one of these seminal Wolverine stories.
For better and worse. But yeah, definitely.
All the characters in it belong, like you said, belong different companies. So it's going to be one of those things where they're kind of using the title and sort of the premise, but they're completely changing the story, which Marvel Studios has done. Age of Ultron, Civil War.
Sure.
And we're okay with that because Marvel has a good established line of credit. Fox with the X-Men movies...
And they also have more rights to more of the characters to get away with it.
Fox with the X-Men movies, their credit kind of went in the tank after X2.
X2 was legit.
That was really great.
Yeah.
I remember being in the theater at the end of X-Men 2, goosebumps. Like, the future was bright. We were so young. We were so naive. We were just little girls.
Will
we didn't know.
Will we say that's the pinnacle of Bryan Singer?
Yes, absolutely.
As far as Bryan Singer and X-Men or Bryan Singer?
I mean, throughout his whole films.
Oh, no, Usual Suspects.
Oh, yeah. I totally
I'm
forgot
sorry
about
to say.
So he peaked early, in other words.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to bring that. Okay, so while we're roundtabling this, why not? So I brought up First Class, and I asked you guys what you thought of it, because that was not Bryan Singer.
No.
But that was kind of a reestablishment of the X-Men after the disaster that was X3. And then it did well, and people were hyped up, and then they got Bryan Singer back again. Do you think that his re-arrival kind of sucked the life out of the party a little bit? Because I think they kind of established a new grounds, and then he came back in and kind of he couldn't leave well enough alone. He kind of came back in and got all heavy-handed and brought the old cast back. And
I think you're right. You're catching on something too. Because Matthew Vaughn did a great job with First Class.
Oh yeah.
And then he didn't come back because he did.
He had something else
it was another movie.
He had other stuff to do.
But I think Bryan Singer. Everybody's like, oh great, we got Bryan Singer back. How great was X2?
Sure.
And everybody was pumped about it. This is going to be great. And then
we're two more films in with him now. How do you feel?
Right. And right now I feel like, let the air out the bag.
Yeah,
pretty much. So
I feel the same way.
He's lost his touch.
Well, he might still have his touch.
Oh,
but
we won't get into that, listeners.
No,
the continuity is as screwed up now as the continuity in the comics.
That's saying something.
Yes.
Yeah, because the X-Men continuity is more screwed up than the entire rest of Marvel as a whole.
Yes, it is. And the state of the X-Men today saddens me.
Yeah,
saddens me.
It's not good at all. I've always said they should do, because right now there's probably 8 or 9 X-Men books, monthly books that are running.
That's far too many.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said they should do 3 books. Do just X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and then bring back the 80-page giant. Make a monthly $10 book where you get smaller stories of X-Force, New Mutants, things like that. Other happenings in the X universe.
Maybe a quarterly, but I don't know about monthly. But I feel you though.
Yeah, do it a monthly.
All right,
that's
a steep price every month, but that's fine. I in spirit, I'm with you. I think there's too many X books. There's not enough. Who cares? I'm sorry to say that, but who's buying these?
I don't know. I struggle to think that X-Men still has the audience that it did back in the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont.
Hell, man,
days.
even in the early 2000s, it was
with Grant Morrison and
not to be that guy because I'm a fanboy. So I'll be like, well, here goes Drew again on his kick.
You do have a blind spot for Grant Morrison,
but dude, his new X-Men run.
It was good. It was groundbreaking.
The last time I cared about what was going on in X-Men, because it was groundbreaking and it was exciting.
Was Joss Whedon before or after?
After.
I would say he was after.
Okay.
And that was
Joss
good.
Whedon's run was good.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't groundbreaking.
See, the problem is nobody can follow up Grant Morrison for you.
Well,
as soon as
to be fair, it's been proven in the industry, no one can follow him. Period. Usually, when he gets off a book, it's kind of you're at a peak, and then there's a big drop, and then someone else has to build it back up. And that's to be fair, that's a testament to the guy's talent. But no, the last time I really felt that X-Men was pushing new themes and ideas was under him. Whedon was more of a nostalgia run. It was kind of like a, hey, remember the good times? It was it was like that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean, it's topical to today's show because I'm sure X-Men's going to come up in the topic we're going to be discussing.
Mm-hmm.
But so as a whole, closing case files, we're all kind of
Old Man Logan
about Logan.
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah.
They also made another little snippet. They said that X-23 will be in the movie.
Yeah, see, I don't care about that at all.
Yeah.
I really don't like X-23.
I know nothing about her other than the premise of her, and I think it's dumb.
I totally agree.
Why would you clone
She was
Wolverine but make him a girl?
Right.
She was fun
What?
to use in Marvel versus Capcom. That's
I'm not. I
but
don't
I'm
know.
terrible at that game. So
But also, she's the new Wolverine, which is like,
Before
yeah,
we,
although give Marvel credit, they actually killed Logan Proper, and he's been dead for a couple of years. And
well, here's the thing. He's finger quotes dead, but he's encased in adamantium.
yeah,
He's still got a healing factor under there.
yeah.
If they cut him out, he's probably still alive. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's
All right, no,
he's come
you're
back
right,
from atoms before. Like,
yeah,
before we get into stuff, can I drop one more nugget on you guys?
sure. What you got?
Would you guys think less of me if I turned down IMAX 3D passes to Doctor Strange on Monday?
No,
no.
and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because when it comes to a film, something I really want to see, for when I see it for the first time, I just want it to be in a standard theater, no 3D. I just want my picture, my sound, because I find that 3D can be distracting.
I feel you, but that's not why I turned it down. But okay, just
But
checking.
are you good, Alan? Are you gonna?
I'm not a big fan of 3D either. It's just
But for Doctor Strange, though, it might be kind of cool.
it might be trippy.
It'd be cool on like a second viewing or a third viewing.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm generally not a 3D guy either. But I turned it down because it's on Bro Day, Alan. And I ain't turning down Bro Day.
That's true.
Look at
Lucha
the
Underground.
loyalty.
We
Hey,
got,
we're loyal on Brody.
you know what time Bro Day is.
Hashtag
Carl.
Bro Day.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
We got Lucha Underground we got to get to.
Dude, Lucha
There might be a new
is-
Botchamania.
All right.
Trust me, Brody is hashtag Brody, by the way.
Hashtag Bro Day.
I just put it in there. But you know, it's a good thing that because I don't like the 3D. It's just like I don't feel like any Hollywood movie since Avatar has done it correctly.
Oh God, Avatar was incredible.
Right. You had to see that 3D. You're like, holy
Yeah.
crap!
Avatar in IMAX 3D was probably the best movie viewing experience I've ever had in a theater. I've said before, I'll say it again. The 3D was so good in Avatar that it was 3/4 of the way into the movie before I realized, wow, this movie is terrible.
So can we agree that it's like the highest grossing movie ever to leave absolutely no cultural impact whatsoever?
You know
Yes.
what? I listened to another series of podcasts done by like the Laser Time Network. I think I mentioned them before.
Sure.
They brought this up too. Like there is no footprint of Avatar
None.
out there in
None.
pop culture right now. There's
And you-
no like Avatar vinyl pops. You don't see kids running around wearing Avatar
No one
t-shirts.
cares. You know the SpongeBob picture with the rainbow?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Pretty much it.
I feel so bad for Disney
Why?
because before they bought Marvel and before they bought Star Wars, they commissioned this friggin' Avatar land attached to Animal Kingdom in Orlando. Now, that's twofold crap for me. Number one, it's attached to Animal Kingdom, my favorite theme park in Disney, because I'm an animal lover.
Until
Star Wars.
the
land.
Star
Yeah,
Wars
yeah.
land.
Even then, I'm
bite your tongue, sir.
Well, let's see how legit that.
You want to see a lion from like 100 yards away, or do you want to walk into the Millennium Falcon and sit down in Han Solo's chair? Shut up, take my money, take my wife, take my firstborn. Here's Drew, here's Alan. Take them too. I present to you a gift. These two co-hosts, they shall serve you well. Bite your tongue, sir.
All right, that's fair. Fair enough. So, number one, it's attached to my favorite park, and that's kind of it's lame. There's no need for it. Number two, I feel like as soon as they did it out of desperation to get some kind of like hot boy appealing sci-fi thing on Disney grounds, and then like a day after they signed the contract, George called and was like, hi, do you guys want to buy Star Wars? And they were like, damn it!
All right. Yes.
Can we tell Cameron it's off? And they're like,
For
have
the
you
last
seen
time,
Cameron when
yes.
he's mad?
Yeah.
They probably wanted to get out of the deal, but by then Cameron would have showed up with a chainsaw like a lunatic, and because he's a notorious jerk. Anyway,
Quick side note, Ted, and then we're gonna close out the news and move on to our reviews.
Yay.
It was announced that for the first time in 20 years, Disney princess costumes will not be the most popular costume for girls this Halloween.
go on.
The most popular costumes, superheroes, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, hang on.
We live in a fantastic time.
Which superheroes?
Yeah, I was
All
about to
of
say,
them.
what's
Marvel,
superhero?
DC, all of them.
Harley
All right.
Quinn's?
I was going to say if I
No, it's like all encompassing. Black Widow, Wonder Woman, Harley
yeah,
Quinn.
I got some bad news for you, friend. If you want to play a game on Halloween,
I don't like where this is going.
put William to bed. Get a bottle out of some of your favorite hard stuff and take a shot for every Harley Quinn you see.
Oh God, I'd be in
You're
coma.
gonna be on the floor by like 7:30.
Half an hour in.
It's gonna be terrible. I'm sorry. It's gonna be terrible, just like the movie.
All right. Okay, so we got some comics to review.
Comics,
now,
folks.
As we mentioned, next week we're going to be diving into Luke Cage and starting to break down that series. So to kind of tie into that and a little bit into what our discussion is going to be tonight, we have a couple comics to review. Some number ones came out this week from Marvel, and I'm going to start out with Jessica Jones number 1.
Okay, hang on. Let me get mine.
Okay. Now, we had discussed this previously when they announced that the original team from the original series that the Jessica Jones show was based on was coming back to do the book, which I think is a fantastic idea.
Yes.
If you want to generate that hype again for the title to support the show, you get the original team, you have them do their thing. So this is written by Brian Michael Bendis, and the art is by Drew
Michael Gaydos.
Michael Gaydos.
Now, let me get some things out of the way.
I think I know where you're going to go with this.
Well,
We
no.
kind of talked about what we didn't want to see happen.
Well, hang on. I don't know. This is more big picture. It's nothing pertaining to the specifics of the book itself yet. And I have the same critique of the current Punisher series. Marvel, you used to have a Max line where all of your adult books went, where you could swear as freely as you wanted and show graphic content as freely as you wanted. Now, granted, we are increasingly becoming a society where we are desensitized to everything, so who really cares? But here's where it gets stupid and weird. Now I've got Marvel Comics, number 1, Marvel Now, as it says in the corner of the book, Jessica Jones, number 1, with a big, stupid parental advisory not for kids in edgy black and red exclamation point print on the cover. This reminds me of DC's censored middle fingers from the Batman run. Because that was dumb. So, okay. Parental advisory, it's a little lame. I'll go with it.
Yep.
So they can swear, like the Punisher book, they can say some words, but they can't say all of them. And not for nothing, this is also something when we get into Luke Cage, I got to talk about this too. It's kind of bothering me. How come it's okay for some stuff but not others? Yeah. And then how come you can show, in the case of the Punisher book anyway, graphic, horrifically bloody violence, but yet you can't drop F-bombs, and it's a Marvel comic.
Yeah.
Just put it on the Max line.
Yeah, no, I get that. That kind of, like, I'm enjoying the current Punisher book, but it takes me out of the story when they do, like, it's supposed to be an F-bomb, and then they do, like, the asterisk numbers, pound sign.
Yeah, this isn't 1988 anymore, man.
Swearing. Here's my problem with the book.
Punisher or Jessica?
Jessica.
Okay.
Artwork's great. It's written well. But it's doing what we were afraid they were going to do.
Which
because when you look back to the Netflix series Jessica Jones is based on the original run of this book. It was called Alias. It wasn't called Jessica Jones.
Yes.
Jessica Jones, since that Alias book, her status quo has changed considerably.
Yeah, dramatically.
She married Luke Cage. They have a daughter.
Yeah.
Last I knew, they were happily married.
They were a successful couple in comics, which, folks, is a rare thing.
And she kind of like made peace with a lot of her demons, more or less.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, like, because in New Avengers, she made a lot of appearances because they were all living together in Avengers Tower.
Right.
And this book seems to be taking, like we had discussed, we were afraid that this book was going to kind of do away with all that. And it seems like that's what this book is doing.
That's what they did.
Because she starts out she's getting released from a prison.
Right. How did she get there?
No, they haven't said yet.
And where's the baby?
No idea.
Does she even seem... Okay, critiquing the book now. Does she even seem concerned for the welfare of her child?
She doesn't seem to be concerned, but it may be because she knows where the baby is and knows the baby is safe.
Fair enough. How come Luke doesn't know where the baby is? And how come Luke ain't talking to her?
Yeah, Luke's not talking to her. He doesn't show up to the last panel, and it's just really frustrating because they could have done a Jessica Jones book. They could have done where the character is now in that, grittier Marvel style, you can do that. And what's even more confusing, and I know it's a sin for me to expect continuity. I'm reading also the Spider-Man book.
Yes.
The Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Okay.
And his grandmother, because he has a secret identity that he keeps from his family, and the grades are falling off, so the family suspects he's getting involved in some shady stuff. So they actually end up hiring Jessica Jones to tail him and find out. And she finds out that he's Spider-Man. And then in another issue, she shows up with Luke to confront Miles, and they seem to be fine. And they're bantering back and forth, and they seem to really have it together. But this book, again, I'm never going to turn down a Bendis book.
Well, I got some thoughts on that. Keep going.
But I'm disappointed that issue 1 was not a deal breaker. They've succeeded in making me curious enough to see what is going on. So I will go forward with issue 2, but I'm a little disappointed to see where it's potentially going, which is what we were afraid of.
I feel all of that. I think my thoughts are the same. So I'm not going to just parrot what you just said. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And if I can go a little layer deeper, I'm going to go ahead and knock Bendis here. I like Bendis. Generally speaking, I like Bendis. Me, as a Daredevil fan, the Bendis run, I will tell you, hands down, for me, is my favorite Daredevil run, better than Frank Miller. I feel like Miller built the park, he built the sandbox, Bendis played in it and had more fun. But that's me. Your mileage may vary. But I will readily concede that Bendis has faults and Bendisisms. And when they're kept in check, it's okay. But when they're not kept in check, it's annoying. And unfortunately, this book has some Bendisisms that drive me insane. Like insane amounts of word balloons that don't actually say anything at all. It's just meant to be witty banter dialogue. It's supposed to be snappy, like a Tarantino flick. Well, unfortunately, that works on film because you have, time passing by. I am a casual observer to the movie. When I have to read a comic book and I have to read this kind of halted exchanges and awkward, not awkward, but it reads awkwardly because it's not being spoken, it's distracting and annoying. And what you end up with is a whole lot of panels with big balloons on them saying absolutely nothing. Bendisism that drives me nuts. The other critique on Bendis that is probably pretty, and I think critics of Bendis would agree, Bendis has his pet characters that he loves, and he comes back to their well all the time. Jessica Jones he invented, there's no problem there. That's the point of the book after all. Luke Cage, once again, he brought in Luke Cage into Jessica's world and Alias, so fair game. Spider-Woman shows up. I have no real...
Another Jessica.
Now, I don't have a problem with Spider-Woman at all. But for me, it's just another one of Bendis' pet characters that he just couldn't resist bringing in for this exchange here for reasons.
Yeah.
Could have been any character. But we had to use he's got his little bag of tricks, and he goes back to it a lot. This is nitpicky, but it's, again, if I'm going to be fair, when I buy a Bendis book, I honestly sit there and think to myself, okay, how much witty dialogue is in it? Finger quotes witty. And then, will Spider-Woman, Luke Cage, or a version of Spider-Man appear in the book?
All right.
And sure enough, this book didn't disappoint me.
So bottom line,
in that regard.
Bottom line, would you recommend the book to someone?
Wait for the trade.
Okay.
If you're especially if you're new to the character.
Well, if you're new to the character, I'm sure we could probably say start with Alias.
Yes, start with Alias. Absolutely, because you're going to be picking this up, being like, well, it says Jessica Jones, but what the hell is going on? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait and see.
Alrighty. Alan, I know you didn't get a chance to read the books. Do you have any? You're glancing through it now.
Sorry,
quick
Alan.
Thoughts on the book?
No, sorry. It just seems very interesting, and but
this is good to get like a first impression from a non.
But I'm just flipping through. There is a lot of bubbles in there, which just like okay, there's no need for it. But
Yep.
I'm not an expert, and like I said,
Don't tell the people that. You're an expert.
sorry, folks, I am an expert at many things. But, I have to sit down and read this thoroughly.
Fair enough.
All right. Okay, on to our next review.
Yes.
We are reviewing Cage #1.
This is timely.
It is timely, and at the same time, it isn't. This is the new series started by Marvel. It is by Genndy Tartakovsky.
You can say it.
You know him from Samurai Jack. You know him from Dexter's Laboratory. You know him from the original Clone Wars shorts, the animated shorts. Samurai Jack is making a comeback. And those are all great things. And this book is done very much in his art style. This is focusing on a 70s era Luke Cage. Now, from my understanding, this book was supposed to come out some time ago.
Like a decade ago.
Okay.
Like forever ago.
I thought it was not that long ago because I thought like they just inked the deal for the Netflix series and they're like, we'll hold it until...
No. This was commissioned a while back.
So, okay, you've got classic Luke Cage in this. Yellow shirt, blue pants.
Yes.
Metal headband, metal braces, chain for a belt. We all kind of love that, especially if you watched episode 4 of the show. But we'll get to that.
Sweet Jesus. I mean, sweet Christmas. Yes. Please watch the
It
episode.
was so
Put
great.
it down in a swear jar.
Yeah, there we go. We're going to have a swear jar for this show. So, this...
you don't. It sounds like you didn't like it very much.
I know. Here's the thing. I liked it. I like Tartakovsky. I like Luke Cage. This is not the Luke Cage book Marvel should be putting out right now.
No, I agree with you.
For a couple reasons. One, if you want to get people like comic readers who maybe don't know the character interested in the show, give them a book on Cage that is reflective of the Cage that is in the show. Two, with everything going on in society right now, with what we're going to be talking about, I'm just giving this to you because just in case you want to flip through it again. What we're going to be talking about tonight, it's like the book, the art is great, the story's fun, the book is fun, but it's not the Luke Cage that Marvel should be putting out.
I
That's
feel you.
my thoughts on it.
I feel you. I agree with where you're coming from. I still enjoyed it.
No, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it.
But that's a very valid take.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's not the Luke Cage book I wanted.
Can I submit to you Power Man and Iron Fist right now?
Okay.
Because that's out right now,
No,
and that's good.
That's legit. That's legitimate. I'm not reading it personally, but I've heard good things.
It's good.
The art kind of turned me off to it.
I like it because it's different. But
But, yeah.
well, to be fair, man, I don't know that Luke Cage has really had a series. This TV show has elevated him considerably. So maybe it's time for a legit Luke Cage, solo run series in 2016 with the version of the character we know now.
That's not what this is.
There's been miniseries and stuff that in the past, but I don't know that they've ever really gotten him down the way he's been in his supporting roles in Alias and in Daredevil here and there, and when he really turned into a mainstay guy in the Avengers.
I was just about to say, give me the Luke Cage who was in New Avengers.
Sure.
Give him a solo series. Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just browsing through the pages, and it looks very great. It just reminds me of a lot of the old blaxploitation movies.
Yes.
But
it looks like it's a comic adaptation of the current animated series he would be doing on this.
Exactly. But I think right now, especially with a lot of things going on in society, I think Marvel is kind of missing an opportunity to elevate Luke Cage as somebody that people can identify with. You see a lot of things that's going wrong, especially with African Americans getting shot and killed. maybe Luke Cage stand up and have a voice, and when we get to the social justice issue later on in this in the show, I will give some clear examples of how comics used to do that.
Would you? We don't know that it's not going to go there.
Well, oh yeah, I mean they're probably brewing it up right now. They're probably thinking about Marvel's hey, we should use Luke Cage. He's very popular now. Maybe we can do that.
Timing is off. Timing is off.
Marvel usually gives their characters that they're presenting in live action media a decent push, like either shortly before or right at the time that media debuts. Like we're getting a really good Doctor Strange series right now.
Yeah.
I'm liking it a lot. The Jessica Jones book, despite our shortcomings with it, can obviously turn into a great book. This can turn into a great book as well, but just right now I think we're all kind of the mind that it's a Luke Cage we like, but not a Luke Cage that
the masses might
Marvel should have put out.
Here's the thing, though, and this is just me kind of saying, they've done the research, they've done the homework. The crossover from the people who watch the shows and watch the movies, they don't really go back and buy the comics. We do, because we grew up with comics, and for me, this is what a time to be alive. Moon pie. Yeah. I get to see all my favorite characters I grew up loving on the big screen in ways I never thought possible, and to me, it's all amazing. But for people who had never read the comics and they're just seeing the movies and they love that, I'm going to say 9 out of 10 of those people, maybe even more so, they're not going back and checking out the comics. They're just watching the movies. They've done the.
I think that's a little high. I think that because
they've done the math.
I saw it numerous times when I was working at a shop. People came in to get the comics because they saw the movie.
But did they hook them?
Yeah.
Did you get regulars out of it?
A lot of those people became regulars. So, I mean, I'm not saying that your number is totally off. I'm just saying it's probably not as high as you think it is. Maybe I would say probably between 4 and 6 out of 10 don't go to the comics.
I would say your anecdotal evidence is probably biased because you were in the shop. So you saw the people that did, but you didn't see the 90% that didn't. You don't make billions of dollars at the box office.
No, I get what you're saying. I just think we're taking it from two different perspectives on this, and that's fine.
Just saying, man, if the movie made $1 billion, the comic industry should have saw a hell of a lot more of a bump, and it did not.
Yeah.
It did not.
And this kind of leads us into our discussion for the night. Now, we said what we were going to do last week. There's a lot going on in the country right now. There's tension between the African American community and police, and that's nothing new. There's social injustice rampant. That's nothing new. Am I naive to think that this show can do something to change that? No, I'm not that naive. But I think we have a forum, Drew and I do here. We have a friend in Alan who is, as we mentioned last week, he is a member of the black community. I think we have an opportunity to have a discussion, but this is not a field I specialize in, to say the least. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a white man living in suburbia. I grew up in Amherst, New York, which for a couple of years was literally the safest place in America to live. The only perspective of the African American community that I can possibly speak from is that my father was a landlord of rental properties on the east side of Buffalo. And for those of you who live in the area, the east side is the ghetto.
Parts of it.
All right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So it's not to say, because a lot of you are hearing landlord, you're probably immediately thinking slumlord. My father was not that. My father worked very hard to provide good housing for people.
So he was more like Joe Pesci at the end of The Super, not the one in the beginning.
He had the pumps. It was great. The pumps.
Oh, it's a good movie, by the way.
So we wanted to have a discussion. We wanted to kind of have a discussion relevant to social justice and social injustices, but we wanted to kind of stick within our wheelhouse, which is comic books. Comic books have a history of being a voice for social issues. And I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago, then they have a very proud history of that. the question is we're going to discuss some of that history. We're also going to ask the question if they're doing it today. So, Alan, give us kind of your background as a teacher and how you kind of approached this issue that we're going to discuss here tonight.
Yeah, like I say, I'm a high school teacher, and I teach very diverse student populations, and I remember growing up and reading comics, back in the late '80s, early '90s, and they had a lot of comic books was like a medium for pushing social issues at the time, like the drug epidemic during the '80s, the crack epidemic, the AIDS epidemic, things like that. They taught us things, and I feel like right now comics, are kind of slacking on that because this is like a golden opportunity. But then again, most people don't read that many comics as they used to.
Yeah.
But thanks to the internet,
I think comics currently today are good at doing diversity, expanding characters or changing characters to area that they may not have been before. But as far as like the stories, I'm speaking particularly with the big two, Marvel and DC, because they're the ones who have the loudest voice. From the stories I'm reading right now a lot of Marvel and DC. There are some opportunities being passed up.
Oh yeah.
Do you really look like you want to say something?
No, I'm listening intently, man.
So, but going back to it, like Alan, you and I discussed, last week we were talking about where it kind of got a lot of beginning the attention that comics were getting as a medium for social justice was with the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil run on Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
Yes.
Where they tackled some issues head on.
Mm-hmm. It was groundbreaking at the time because I'm reading it, because I was trying to prepare for the show, and I was reading it back and forth. I read this, it was Green Lantern 76. In this comic book, is Green Lantern holding up his lantern. He's saying, in darkest day and darkest night. And Green Arrow's in the background. He shoots an arrow and destroys the lantern. So right away, you're thinking right away that there's going to be an epic fight. But Green Arrow is kind of like antagonizing Green Lantern. He goes, yeah, you have all this power. You have this green power ring. But you're not really defending the people of the community. And Green Lantern goes on patrol with Green Arrow. Excuse me, but a black person, an elderly black man comes up, and I'm just reading a direct quote because I found it on the internet.
It's a very famous panel.
Yeah.
Yes, he says, I've been reading all about you, about your work, for the Blueskins, and a planet someplace you helped out the Orange Skins, and you done considerable for the Purple Skins, and only there's skins you never bothered with, the Black Skins. I want to know how come. Answer me that, Mr. Green Lantern. And it shows Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, and he has his head down. He goes like this.
It's just like a real gut check.
Right. He goes. He says this in quotes. I can't. And Green Arrow looks at him like this. He goes, I told you.
Yeah. Now, when you see a book like a panel like that, there's going to be the geeks out there who be like, well, Green Lantern is, in charge of a whole space sector that he should be patrolling. You're missing the point.
Exactly. Because they brought that up, too, because he was on trial from the Guardians of Oa. They brought him on trial because they say he misused his powers, trying to protect, a very poor neighborhood. Because there was a slumlord, there was overcharging them, and Green Arrow and him fought them.
Now, Green Arrow, we should note, is a famous crusader for social justice in comics. He's like the social crusader in comics.
And before this episode, he lost all his fortune, so he's kind of poor in this, and he's fighting for the poor. So they go to Oa. They have this trial. The Owens, the blue skin Guardians of the Universe at the time, they're going on trials. It's like, Green Lantern of Section 3189, you misused your powers. And Green Arrow goes, oh, hold up. He goes, no, he didn't misuse his powers at all. He was defending the community. A community that has been overlooked for so many years.
And just to geek on you a little bit, it's Sector 2189.
2189. Sorry. I tried. Sorry. But
I've got a Green Lantern emblem on my wedding ring, sir. So I got don't get me wrong. I know we're discussing a bigger picture here, but we got to stay to truth.
So they go on trial. Green Arrow invites the Owens back to Earth and say, we have so many problems. not just super villains and so other powers. We have other powers, because later on they introduced John Stewart for that purpose.
Yeah. What? Because again, it's like I want to be careful not to ask a question that's going to be offensive, and that's again, folks, if you're listening,
we're treading lightly.
Yeah,
right.
we're not trying to offend, but again, there's backgrounds that Allens have that I do not share and that Drew does not share.
No.
What did it mean to you as a kid growing up when they would introduce a black character, when you discovered a black character?
At the time, I thought, this is cool. This is somebody I can relate to. I can relate to Jon Stewart. I can relate to, T'Challa, even though I'm not an African king who's immensely rich. That'd be awesome, though. But
that would be great.
One can dream.
We still think you're a Panamanian king. That you're just not telling us.
Yeah, you might be. I might be.
Sorry, not to break kayfabe here, but
but yeah,
could we be unknowing players and coming to America too? We don't know.
We don't know.
That's true.
We don't know.
But yeah, I mean, those characters, they mean a lot, especially at the time, especially when Luke Cage first popped up, because he was the first African American hero who had his first solo comic book. He was the first.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot, because he wasn't fighting, well-known superheroes. He's fighting, pushers, drug dealers, corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
That wasn't seen a
Now,
lot.
have you read a lot of the early?
Yes,
Luke
I read
Cage?
it.
Now, I know he was created by Archie Goodwin and John Romita Sr.
Right.
Was the early Luke Cage reflective of what black culture was back then, or was it like caricaturing?
Yeah, I worry. I know that they were kind of in the 70s, especially. Marvel was trying to capitalize on a lot of stuff that was hot in the 70s. So they had kung fu books. So they had Shang-Chi, and you had
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So was Power Man, Luke Cage for the uninitiated, Power Man, was that legit, or was that kind of just like a blaxploitation cash in?
It started as that, because I did some research. It started as blaxploitation, and then people loved the character of Luke Cage because he was in Harlem. He's beating up bad guys and from Harlem and corrupt people, pushers, drug dealers, and people can relate to that. So instead of having some super power maniac, somebody who's
why we
human.
like Daredevil.
Yeah,
Right.
Streets.
For the people. I'm not going to worry about an asteroid that's coming to Earth that Thor is going to deflect, and by the time it gets to Earth, I'm not going to have time to worry about it because it's going to evaporate me. But the guy who wants to mug me or jack me as I'm going home from work or whatnot, Daredevil and Luke Cage out there protecting me, and that's why we're attracted to these stories. We were talking about the Green Lantern, Green Arrow run, and that was quote unquote dubbed the hard traveling heroes.
Yep.
Because that whole series, they were just kind of going across America trying to find America.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that series dealt with. One thing that always comes up is the drug problem in the country. And again, we're talking social justice, not just race issues. Mm-hmm. There are drug problems coming up. And that book, along with an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, famously dealt with the drug problem. But there's that famous cover of the Green Lantern, Green Arrow run.
Right.
When you and I were at Nickel City Comic Con, I'm getting ready to get, Neil Adams to sign a cover. I'm like, oh, Alan, what cover should I get? But there's the, my Speedy's a Junkie cover.
Yes.
What did you find, as far as the comics dealing with the drug problems back in, the early 70s and whatnot?
I mean, it was groundbreaking at the time, and they didn't deal with issues like that because, back in the day, people thought comic books were for kids, but they started to realize during the 70s, those kids are in college now, and they still kept reading those comic books. So they kind of grew up with those characters, and it's kind of refreshing to see those characters deal with issues like that. Especially when Speedy's a junkie. He's a superhero, but he's addicted to heroin. Who would have thought?
And then Amazing Spider-Man had an issue where they dealt with Harry Osborn being on pills. And that issue was famous not only because it dealt with the drug problem, but because it was one of the first comics published without the approval of the Comics Code at the time.
Yeah.
Marvel just said, all right, we're just going to publish that. And ironically enough, nothing happened to them.
Because the Comics Code was kind of crap. It was.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah. Comics. Well, see, I think you're operating under the premise that comics used to do more, and I can't disagree. There's more famous examples in the past than there are now. But then again, maybe we're just not looking, or maybe, and this is kind of my take on it, is like they're still doing it, but there's so much out there, and ultimately, comics just aren't popular anymore. So people aren't really keeping an eye on them.
It goes back to the old saying: with great power comes great responsibility. Do comics have the power they used to have back in the day?
No.
You can arguably no, they don't. But there are still kids that read comics, and still people that can read comics that may. Because you know what? Honestly, I don't really watch the news.
I feel you,
because
man.
it's friggin' depressing.
Yeah.
We live in I've said it before, we live in a state where news is just fear-mongering. It's just telling you what to be afraid of, how you should be afraid of it, and what you should be doing about that fear. It's not meant to inform anymore. And so, like, anyone who says, why you read comics and whatnot, I'm like, because it gives me an escape from that. I've got a 6-month-old son. The things I'm afraid of jumped a whole hell of a lot when he was born. And so, having that escape is beneficial, but also I think it's almost a responsibility of comics to kind of get this information out there as well. And it's not how it was back in the 70s, where creative decisions were made by writers and editors. Now creative decisions are made by, like, board of shareholders.
Right.
They are. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I would say that, at least in Marvel's case, maybe I'm just not paying attention to DC, but like at least in Marvel's case, they are doing a lot, like you said, on the diversity side of things. And if that's a corporate boardroom decision, I mean, I'd be actually kind of surprised. But if it is, well, good on the board. But that might be as best as you're going to get right now, because I don't know that anyone wants to tackle the social justice stuff.
Yeah, I think
they're well, as an industry, I think they're too scared of turning people off and losing sales, because the comics industry is not what it once was. And, I hate to say it, but sales are king. That's why you've got 10 Avengers books and 10 X books and 10 Batman books, because proven brands sell. And that's not just comics. That's like everything now. It's franchises and movies too. Original content is like a kiss of death. It's got to be a proven winner, and that's what they put out now. So I don't agree with this, by the way. I think this is a terrible. These are terrible times to be alive.
Oh yeah.
If you like original content. So I think the comics are just reflective of that. Like they're scared to push those buttons, and they're scared to really go at stuff, at least in Marvel and DC. So like, take the X-Men, for example.
Yeah.
We just got done saying what a mess they are. Like I could not be less interested in the X-Men. But for years, decades, they were like the symbolic book of the outcast group.
The book was about race relations,
essentially about race
From its
relations. But you could also extend
until...
it. You could also extend it to gay relations and all that.
Yeah.
If you were an outsider of any kind, the X-Men was like your jam, because they were a group that banded together for coexistence and peace. Like that was the theme of the book, and it probably still is. But man, if it isn't lost, I don't know that it matters anymore. Like the X-Men couldn't matter less.
Yeah, I think you hit the the nail on the head. It's back in I loved the Claremont series. I thought he was one of the best. When Carl and I went to Nickel City Con, I was scavenging for some Claremont books that I was missing. And I think right now, especially right now we are such it's such a sensitive world right now. You can't express yourself. You can't say certain things without fearing a backlash.
Right.
And I think that's what it is right now.
Even things that you would perceive as being like a positive thing to say.
Somebody's going to take it the wrong way, and they go on the internet and blogs like, oh, well, he said this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. We grew up in the 90s. We grew up in the Attitude Era. The old days where you could flip off your boss, stun him, and then, drink beer. Those days are gone. But that'd be awesome. They brought them back, though. But I think that's a thing, too, because I was reading up with Stan Lee when he first came up with the idea of the X-Men, even though there was a lot of controversy at the time because Doom Patrol came out 3 months earlier, and then DC...
These guys all hung out at the same bars, Alan. So, It is murky, but yeah, I feel you.
Stan Lee said, when I created the X-Men, with Jack Kirby, I had in mind about racism and people who are outcasts, and that was a big point. And also, when I read back on Amazing Spider-Man 96 and 98, Stan Lee was talking about how the comic book authority didn't want him to publish those comic books, those 3 comic books, especially dealing with, Harry on LSD, people, overdosing. It was his decision. He goes, no, this needs to be published because this is going to be an epidemic.
Stan took a stand.
Stan took a stand at that time because he said this is important. This is an important issue, and people wanted to ignore it. He goes, no, this can't be ignored because at the time, remember, Marvel was headquarters in New York City, so he was seeing this.
Sure. If they did something, what could they? I don't know. I don't think I want to ask what they could do. I guess the better question is just like, if they decided to do something pertinent, would they have the guts to do it today?
I think yes, they would have the guts because look at Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm. Sure, the show.
Where the thing I hear the most about Luke Cage is unapologetically black.
Yeah.
And it's working. Alan, you've seen the entire series.
Trust me, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, you said like it's everything that it needed to be. Mm-hmm. You've seen the headlines of the reviews that comes out every time Marvel comes out with something. You see like reviews and everything popping up all over the place. People making a point that it is a black superhero, not in a costume but in a hoodie, and he's bulletproof.
Right.
What could speak more?
Yeah.
To current social climate than that.
Exactly. In one of the episodes too, no
spoilers, man. Only episode 5.
Yeah, it's
okay,
gotta keep it light, man.
Well, dear viewers, please watch the series.
It's
take my word for it. You will love it. It is exactly what you thought it was. It's blaxploitation, but more.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask then, as a notoriously Caucasian male, I love it. And I also love, like, Black Dynamite.
Oh, so do I.
In fact, the Tartakovsky book reminds me of the Black Dynamite
comics. Oh, my God, yes.
A lot,
Black
actually.
Dynamite comic.
In the best ways, though.
Oh, God, that was such a great comic.
Yeah.
Why did it go away?
I don't know.
So unceremoniously.
I would love a Black Dynamite sequel movie. But in any case, so as a white dude who loves the Luke Cage show so far, I guess I would ask 2 things. Number 1, is it, like I asked about the comic, is it kind of a collection of cliches, and am I liking something like cliche, or do they take cliches but do good things with them and go beyond them?
They do cliches, but they go beyond. I mean,
okay, I don't know. I don't live in Harlem, so I don't. But I mean, you got a barbershop and there's the club, and like to me, it's kind of like this is all cool. I like all this stuff, but it's also kind of familiar ground. Are these real things like today, or are they just kind of tropes that we're putting in?
No. I mean, there's a lot of things that's reminiscent, like the music. When you hear the music,
I love the music.
The music's
so good.
Love the music.
And by the way, the soundtrack is on the top 10 right now on the Billboard chart.
I think it's like $13 by the way for like all 50-some tracks.
Did they finally come out with one?
Digitally? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Carl reaches for the phone.
So downloading that.
I have a soft spot for 70s funk and that kind of, and soul and R&B and all that. So that soundtrack is hot.
Oh, also, this is a bit of news. Before Prince passed away,
I heard this.
He was supposed to do a cameo and do a song in the club, and I was like, man, that'd have been so awesome if he would have done that cameo and he would have sung a song.
That would have been insane,
right? Because when he fortunately passed, Faith Evans came in, R&B singer. He used to be the widow of Biggie Smalls.
Yep.
So
even I know that.
Yeah. So she made that cameo instead.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it would have been awesome. You imagine you seeing Prince on there, singing in Harlem.
That would have been pretty sweet.
But yeah,
but that's why they did the swear jar, because Prince had a swear jar.
Yes,
and that's why they incorporated it. That's great. It's so cool.
See, it all ties together, folks.
So it's not just tropes. Then it's sort of it is authentic,
right? I mean, I think especially when I'm watching the barbershop scenes. I mean, like I go to my barbershop. I go to a barbershop on Bailey. And it's the same thing. You go over there. You talk to your barber about issues and things like that. from politics to sports, to jive talking, trash talking. It's what we do. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of like our sanctuary.
All right.
What do you want to see comics do? Like you're editor in chief of Marvel right now. What do you want to see the comics do today that they were getting so right back then, and now it just seems like that they're kind of trying to appease diversity for diversity's sake?
Right. I understand that they have board of directors. They're trying to appease them, but sometimes I wish there was like a voice that says, this is what's going on in America right now. We need to write a script around it. Like I would love to see like Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or Daredevil deal with social issues of today. Especially with with a lot of young African Americans getting shot and killed. It would be interesting, especially a young black kid, if he's listening right now, he's probably like, yeah, that would be nice to see,
And I don't know, because I'm not reading a lot of the big two right now, but do comics like Miles Morales, Spider-Man, or Miss Marvel, are they tackling any of this stuff?
Not really.
No.
Really? So it's just lighthearted fare that happens to feature a minority.
Exactly.
Yeah, again, it's kind of diversity for diversity's sake. Like, hey, this is an emerging, because it's well documented that female readers in comics are the fastest growing demographic in comics.
Okay.
So you're seeing more pushes of female characters because they want to give those readers something to read. So they're giving them kind of what they want, but they could be doing a much better job of how they deliver it.
Just a side note, that's really interesting, because you know what the fastest growing segment of wrestling fans are?
Females?
Females, yeah.
Females, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Females are enjoying young men wearing next to nothing, rolling around with each other?
Young girls
Shocking.
are getting into wrestling. Bailey, Sasha Banks.
God, I love Sasha Banks.
The current crop of women's wrestlers are their jam.
Okay.
Bailey is their Cena, dude.
Yes.
She's my Cena, personally. I'm just saying.
And,
but I could see her.
Female gamers are
they're exploding
on
too.
the rise too. So
remember when we went to Nickel City Con? I was like, "There's more female comic book readers." Like, where did this come from?
So
where was this 20 years ago?
At the very least, we are getting more representation there.
Yeah,
but that's more of a. I mean, not for nothing.
No, it's good. But here's also a problem I have with it is, and this is a major problem with the comics industry with the big two, is creation. For the most part, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's definitely on life support.
Well, remember what I just told you.
Because creators aren't allowed to create new characters. Like, if you want a new character, if you want a positive new black character, it's almost like you're not allowed to create a new character. You have to modify or reboot an existing character to be a black character because they don't want to pay creators' rights.
Right. Correct.
So, like, yes, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, fantastic. They did that in Ultimate. They had an opportunity to do that, so they did it, and it's done well. But a lot of times, it's just like when New 52 was going on, DC wanted a gay character. They introduced Earth 2... Alan Scott as gay, a gay version of that Green Lantern. They didn't just allow a new character to be created that new readers can relate to.
Sure.
So and I think that's one of the major problems because, like, if you get those characters, you put them in that situation, it will lend to the possibility of those stories that spoke so strongly back in the day, possibly making a comeback today.
I think the problems are multi-tiered, and from the creative standpoint. Number one, like I said, I just think comics aren't really what they used to be, so I don't know if they can have the same effect. You might disagree, but I feel like even if comics did something, palpable and good, it's just not going to have the same impact as it once did. Number two, though, like I said, and like you just reiterated, creators don't really create because if they create, they have to get paid. Mm-hmm. And that's not a critique of paying creators. I'm all for paying creators. But from the company standpoint, they don't want to do it. So if I'm a writer, man, what are you going to do? Like and like Miles Morales, He was created by what? Bendis? Bendis is Marvel for life. He's like the NWO, man. He's 4444 life. So that was like he threw them a bone. It's not like he's been compensated heavily. But like, if you hire insert writer here on a book, he's not going to create anything like that because, what's his incentive?
Right, which is a shame too because they need more original characters. Because well, we're thinking about you were talking about the Alan Scott. They also did the same thing with Wally West now because of the success of the Flash series.
Wally.
Yeah.
So originally Wally West was a
redheaded white kid,
and now he's black.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with, but I remember
a lot of fans of Wally though didn't like that.
Right. I mean, I grew up with Wally in the 90s when he took over the Flash mantle.
Right.
And it was just.
He's a whole generation's Flash.
Right.
Barry Allen was gone for a while.
Exactly, and he was the Flash.
Sure.
And that's another problem. Like when you make a change to a character like that, changing Wally West black, making Thor woman, making Captain America black, you've got a whole legion of mouth breathing haters out there, just like, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, no, you're missing the point.
Right.
You're trying to steal a quote. You're not trying to get it right. You're trying to be right.
You did mention though that a lot of this is done for the sake of diversity and not necessarily as a natural extension. And you also kind of mentioned that like when they do these changes,
I'm not saying diversity is a bad thing.
No, either am I.
Diversity is a good first step.
A lot of people, I guess what I was trying to say is a lot of people would say, why can't, those people you're talking about, would say what you kind of just said, why can't you just invent new characters? Why do you gotta do this to, a character I like? But I think we've already answered that because number one, they're not allowed to create new characters. And number two, those name brands cut both ways. So those name brands sell. So if they do it to a name brand, it's going to get a lot more attention than if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing necessarily. They are shining a big bright light on it, saying, "Hey, man, this is happening."
Yeah, I'm not saying by any means that the diversity is a bad thing.
Okay, no, I know that
it's a good first step, but they're kind of stopping at that first step.
Right.
They're not tackling issues.
It's like saying. You know what? How awesome would it be if they, when they invented Miles Morales, Miles Morales handled those street level problems. Mm-hmm. No, he's off like with the Avengers.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I feel
you're missing an opportunity there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You've got I don't know the character's civilian name, the new Miss Marvel,
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan. Now, I've heard good things about this book. So I can't say as to whether or not they're tackling these issues. But again, off with the Avengers. Let's get these characters into some real issues.
Right. I think they have to be established. I think that's what thing is. Like you have old characters, Barry Allen's established, Steve Rogers is established, Hal Jordan is established, Now, introducing a new Thor or a new Captain America based off an established character, it doesn't hit the reader very well, especially the old-timey readers.
But like I said, it does. It shines. It gets attention, and it kind of forces you to pay attention.
Right.
But maybe they could do more with that attention than just like just the surface level. Mm-hmm. Do an issue well. To be fair, hang on. I mean, again, for what it's worth, I feel like the Thor in the case of Thor, that book not only changed Thor to being female, but the book itself took on a sort of feminist tone too. So a lot of the issues that she was facing, even though she's with the Avengers and all that stuff, there were a lot of anti-woman issues in it that she was also fighting in context. So maybe in that way they could also do the same with Miles Morales, with Kamala Khan. I don't know that they are because unfortunately I'm not reading those books because my big two is just plummeted. But if you're saying they're not, I take your word for it. Maybe they should be doing more.
I could say Miles Morales is doing minimal. Kamala Khan I can't speak to because I don't read Miss Marvel.
Well, they should do more then.
True.
So it's a discussion that obviously
it's ongoing,
needs
man.
to keep happening. We need to keep talking. I'm thankful that, Alan, you were able to join us again. Just keep talking, keep expressing ideas, keep talking.
Right.
I guess is.
I mean, cartoons used to do that too. I mean, a lot of people are missing points. I don't know if you guys ever seen the original Teen Titans cartoons. They dealt with one very issue that I remember off my head.
Which Teen Titans cartoons, like
the original, not the new one, the original one.
So not Young Justice,
right.
But the one that came before Young Justice. Okay,
so it was kind of a funny cartoon, but they dealt with some serious things. And one of the big serious things I remember was there was an alien and kept calling. He came to Earth and then looks at Starfire. And, made Starfield feel very inferior. It kept her calling her a word. Kept calling her Troc. The episode's called Troc.
Yeah,
and. Cyborg, he's being black. He's black and half machine. He goes, "Oh, way to go, Trocky." And then she gets offended. She goes, "You never call me that word." She goes, "But you let that other dude call it." She goes, "Yeah, but it's a bad word." She goes, "In my language, it means it's inferior." And Cyborg goes around to her. He goes, I understand exactly what you feel." She goes, "You do?" She goes, "Yeah, of course I am. I'm part machine." Instead of saying,
yeah,
I'm black, but get it.
Yeah,
they subverted the trope.
Exactly.
But they still made the point. That's good.
Right. I thought that was, it was like mind blowing at the time. I was like, that's really a smart way,
Well, it's
really
twofold. Cool. It subverts your expectation, but it still drives the point home.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
you get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good.
And I think right now the media is missing huge opportunities, Yeah. And because, everybody's like, kids these days, they're on the internet. I mean, if you kind of force the issue, if you kind of, do it in a way that they kind of get it and do subtle ways like that, like, the Teen Titans Troc issue, I think, they'll start coming around.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a conversation that needs to keep happening all over the world. And we appreciate you, listener, for kind of letting us go a little serious tonight. I think we had a good conversation. But to end the show on a lighter note, during our conversation, I received a text message.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Who?
From Mr. Jay Gelsomino.
Yeah, Jay.
Hey!
He sent us some viewer questions.
I might have to take back some things I said about him.
Some for each of us.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
I will read someone's question and then pass the phone to the next person. They can read so on and so forth. So
like it.
Drew,
yes.
I will read your questions.
Go on.
More gentle after a nice shower.
Ooh.
A fluffy towel with a depiction of the assassination of Alex Murphy.
Ooh.
Or a heat lamp that also plays Ride the Lightning.
Wow.
What's the question again?
More gentle after a nice shower.
The towel. Definitely the towel.
The towel.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you put Alex Murphy's gun-riddled body on the butt or on the front? That's my follow-up question.
I would say on the front because maybe it's before the headshot. So I put it
Okay. All right. I see what you did.
That's right.
Okay, your second question.
Go on.
Sex one, marry one, kill one.
Oh, God, okay.
Ving Rhames after a 5K marathon.
Ooh, okay.
So he's kind of, got the sweats.
Sure.
Val Kilmer, but fat Val Kilmer in the bat suit after a volleyball game following a spicy Indian dinner.
Oh, man.
And Gilbert Gottfried, who has a backstage pass to Gojira.
Okay, so it's a... okay. Oh, boy.
I think your path on this is clear.
I don't know, man. This is tough. Okay, so I guess I'll kill this. It's a shame because it's the lightest of the conditions are so minor. For one of them, I feel bad, but yet, sorry, Gilbert, you got to go. Even though, like I said, the conditions are
really that's surprising. I think you would just have sex to him just to get the backstage pass.
I mean, Maybe? I don't know.
And keep in mind, if the one you're marrying is going to stay in that constant state.
Oh, that constant state
Yeah.
stays? That's a hell of a voice. All right, hang on. I changed my answer here. I'll marry Gilbert. I could deal with
Okay.
it. I got to have my way with Mr. Rames. Sorry.
No, sir. Mr. Ames has his way
Oh,
with
yeah.
you.
I'm okay with that. That's perfectly fine.
So you're gonna kill off Val?
I'm sorry, Val, but you know why? Here's why. Val Kilmer was an icon of the silver screen. It's just sad to see him now. We gotta.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Val. Ice, man. It's just over, man. It's over, buddy.
Alrighty. Drew, would you be so kind as to
Happily.
read Alan his question?
Alan, his questions. Okay. Alan,
Yes.
fresh of the heels of the groundbreaking. I think he means fresh off. Fresh off the heels. You misspelled it, Jay. Fresh off the heels of the groundbreaking take on the genre, Luke Cage has brought up some valid questions. Mm-hmm. Alan, what is your favorite whitesploitation movie? That whole discussion we just had
We just threw it right out the window.
Jeez. Thanks, Jay. Thank you very
Jay,
much.
I love you for this.
We're going to get complaints.
There is so many.
Send your complaints.
Jay
Just
Gelfino.
you know it.
Favorite white exploitation movie?
It's got to be a John Hughes movie.
That's whitesploitation?
No,
Oh,
you know what? I got
God.
it. I got it. It's got to be white chicks. I mean,
Wow.
I-
Holy crap.
Inception.
I mean, if you think about it,
Man, you just pulled a Roddy Piper. Right when I thought we knew the answers, you changed the questions. Oh, my Lord.
it's got to be white girls. I mean,
All right.
Wow. Good pull. All right.
Plus
Who's
Terry
asking
Crews is in
Carl?
it.
Alan would
you can ask Carl.
Yes.
ask me my question.
All right,
Good answer.
Carl. It says shower gel or soap,
I'm a big proponent of the shower gel.
and
with the
why?
loofah.
And why?
Why?
I have a shower gel brand Irish Spring that has like deep scrubbing action, and whereas I am, as the French say, fat. You know, there are many layers that need to get scrubbed. You know, stuff has to get picked up and moved and scrubbed under and whatnot. So that's why.
Irish Spring. You'll like it too.
Second question: where have all the Cowboys gone?
Not to the playoffs.
Wow. To be fair, neither of the Bills, but you know,
Yeah. You know, it's the middle.
Yeah, but at least the Bills know what they are. The Cowboys have been a 500
though?
team. Yeah, more than the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been a 500 team since their last Super Bowl. Like legit 500 team.
That's
Up
fine, but I don't think the Bills know that they're not that good. They
No,
think
we know we're terrible.
I don't think they do.
No.
We in the room do. I don't think they do.
No, they believe.
Yeah, that's the problem.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Devil's Due. Alan, thank you very much for joining us again.
No problem. You know.
We're definitely going to have you back for some episodes of Luke Cage.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to share any thoughts about the conversation we had tonight, if you have any show suggestions, anything you want to communicate to us, you can reach us at Twitter at Devil's Due Pod. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thedevilsdue. You can email us at thedevilsdewpod.com at gmail at the devil's
Whoa,
due
hang on.
I keep doing it at thedevilsdewpod at gmail.com. If you would like to go to thedevilsdewpodcast.com, you can do that to find all those materials. Ladies and gentlemen,
You good there?
I'm good.
Okay.
Court is adjourned.